Thank you, Dr. Howard, for your generous introduction. It is wonderful to be here with so many innovative and dedicated people who promote economic and social well-being for families, children, and individuals, as VPP Raise DC does, with funding, capacity building, and strategic assistance through partnerships. I am excited to celebrate and congratulate you for your dedication to making a difference in communities across the country. The goals of the Community Economic Development Program are closely aligned with the goals of VPP Raise DC, and we share the understanding that community is built among organizations and across sectors. We also believe that meaningful social impact starts with helping organizations develop the solid infrastructure they need to thrive and to help children and families realize their full potential and achieve their dreams. My passion for organizational development and community building to create a vibrant and strong region is not just professional. I'm a third-generation Washingtonian and a product of the DC public schools. I have always felt that my schools, church, and community supported my success. I wasn't always easy, but this community launched me and many others on a path to academic achievement and thriving adulthood. During my time in government, both on the local level and in the Clinton administration, I learned how communities work through public service. Then in the private sector, during my time at RJR Nabisco, my understanding of the possibilities of public-private partnerships was greatly enhanced, as well as learning how difficult it is to build them and ensure their sustainability. I am now using what I learned about cross-sector collaboration to lead an organization that uses these principles to better serve our youth throughout the region. The nonprofits that VPP Raise DC support produce meaningful change in the lives of youth, resulting in healthier newborns and improved quality of life throughout all phases of their development. Through our work, we have found that collaboration and a shared sense of purpose create the investments our youth need to live up to their full potential. For over 20 years, Venture Philanthropy Partners has delivered long-term outcomes that improve life opportunities for children and young adults in Greater Washington. Our approach combines partner identification, engagement, investment, and advising. And Raise DC is a collective impact initiative that aligns data, partner actions, research, and community voice to shift policies, practices, and mindsets to build equitable systems. VPP Raise DC joined together in April 2020, driving our new strategic vision to act as a regional backbone with an investment fund to support children and young adults 0 to 24 and their families. Our focus remains on 3 core areas: early childhood success, boys and young men of color, and career and college readiness. Through financial investments coupled with strategic assistance in strengthening organizational capacity, VPP Raise DC has deployed more than $110 million to programs and organizations serving 50,000 children and young adults in our region annually to yield healthier families, improved academic achievement, and higher graduation rates. We recognize that isolated efforts will never be enough to solve the big problems affecting vulnerable young people in our region. This is especially true as we are experiencing a global pandemic, racial injustice, and economic instability. We cannot be sure of the full ramifications of these challenges on our communities and young people. Without a shared region-wide understanding of the underlying issues keeping our young people from success, we don't have a chance of solving them. Collective action is needed from across sectors and throughout the region, from all stakeholders to help today's young people succeed. Our children's needs do not stop at jurisdictional boundaries, and neither can our efforts to ensure their future well-being. A phrase you hear over and over again in the business and nonprofit world is that the real magic happens when an organization or a movement becomes bigger than the sum of its parts. But the truth is, it isn't magic, it is collaboration. When people and organizations come together to share their knowledge and expertise, to share their capacity and to pool funding, they're able to make things happen that could not have been done on their own. Just last month, we celebrated the 10th anniversary of the book Leap of Reason, published by VPP co-founder Mario Marino. Leap of Reason outlines the philosophy that guides VPP and includes many of the lessons learned from work with our first portfolio of organizations. The book was largely inspired by what Mario saw in working with organizations, whether they were nonprofits, governments, or businesses. They were all dedicated to their mission, but weren't always looking in the mirror to ask whether they were focusing on the right things. This is where BPP Raise DC comes in. By combining the passion of nonprofits and philanthropy with the acumen of the business sector and the reach of government agencies, we can make the kind of difference in young people's lives that we could not achieve alone. We provide multi-year support for the development of programs and for building the strength of organizations and networks. We couple that financial investment with strategic assistance. We help leaders take a step back from the immediate to focus on building stronger organizations and networks to achieve their aspirations. We help organizations clarify what they're trying to accomplish for those they serve and identify what it will take to get there. We help them build systems for tracking whether they are on the right course. Then we help them come together to share what they have learned and to collaborate to maximize results. I'd like to highlight one of our favorite examples of a successful partnership. VPP's Youth Connect initiative pioneered a collaborative approach to improve education, employment, and healthy behaviors for vulnerable youth in Greater Washington. Youth Connect was built as a safety net to help young people develop the knowledge, skills, attitudes, and behaviors needed to graduate from high school and succeed in post-secondary education and the workplace. It represents a true leverage model, bringing together public funds with private investors, foundations, and corporations to invest in proven programs to achieve stronger student outcomes. At Suitland High School in Prince George's County, Maryland, our network partners included Hillside Work Scholarship Connection, Peer Forward, Urban Alliance, Year Up, and Latin American Youth Center, Maryland Multicultural Youth Centers. These organizations joined the network to improve the lives of youth ages 14 to 24 who were not attending school, not employed, or who were in jeopardy of becoming disconnected. While the missions of each organization are different, they acknowledge that their collaboration as a network is more powerful than working as individual organizations. By integrating what each of these organizations does best through Youth Connect, we dramatically accelerated the chances of success for the youth they served. From school year 2015 through school year 2019-20, network-wide outputs and outcomes included 4,156 youth served by Youth Connect. 148 youth were placed in employment that did not interfere with their schoolwork. 555 youth completed a professional resume or portfolio, and 877 youth completed the FAFSA, the free application for federal student aid. While our formal collaboration concluded last summer, during the 6-year investment period, our Ready for Work initiative, including Youth Connect at Suitland and High Point high schools, served over 8,000 young people and brought an additional $9 million in support of career and college-ready graduates. The learnings from our Youth Connect experience confirmed an implicit hypothesis from some of VPP's earliest investments. Networks of outcome-oriented, data-driven organizations with strong leadership, deep community relationships, and investment partnerships deliver more positive outcomes for the children and youth served. System-level change from the partnership demonstrated programs with positive outcomes can be scaled. That learning was captured last summer as we developed our new strategic direction that more intentionally and expressly advances a region-wide systems change agenda, pushing collective impact through the networks that we support and create through our investments and strategic partnerships. The integration of BPP Raise DC is perhaps the most obvious and dramatic step in this direction. Combining an investment approach with existing change networks and membership in the Strive Together national network will help us advance equity so that every child in our region can realize their full potential faster. As we celebrate all of you for making a difference in your communities, I'd like to challenge everyone in the audience to seriously assess whether your hard work adds up to the kind of concrete results you aim to achieve. At BPP Raise DC, we know that aligning businesses, nonprofits, and governments to work together is not always the fastest way to success, but if we want to have the broadest, farthest reach, it is the only way. Consider how collaboration might add up to greater results in your work. What outcomes are you striving toward when developing strategies? Consider how collaboration might add up to more significant results in your field, and for other funders, how multi-year investments could fund the organizational capacity they need to succeed. We have learned many things over the past year and a half. While there have been many uncertainties, one thing is for sure. Human beings are resilient. We can withstand and recover quickly from difficult conditions. In many ways, we have all transformed. We found innovative ways to engage one another and stay connected, and a collective impact network approach has been instrumental to our survival and success. It is about scaling up and across jurisdictions in ways that reinforce the work that each organization does. Synergy results in a stronger, more vibrant community in ways that are more resistant to shocks and unexpected shifts, like those that have resulted from the effects of COVID-19. Building in resiliency and strength throughout organizations and networks on the ground is key to not only surviving, but thriving. Disparities within our communities and society overall have become more evident due to the past year's challenges. We must do more, be bolder, and act faster to make the changes needed, particularly for our most vulnerable youth and families. BPP Raise DC will continue to invest in partner organizations and opportunities that challenge structural racism and the implicit biases that enforce the status quo. The opportunity before my team is to lead and support organizations to align our resources and actions to improve opportunities for today's youth who are the leaders of tomorrow. A recent example of how we collaborate across sectors and communities to create greater equity is our partnership with Fairfax County, Virginia. Fairfax County is one of the wealthiest counties in the United States, but is challenged because of the increasing poverty in 9 neighborhoods due to demographic shifts in the region. While the county has significant access to data and information on the drivers of inequity in housing, education, and transportation, there is not a complete picture of the overlapping drivers and root causes of the challenges facing these communities. To address this issue, One Fairfax was developed. which is a joint racial and social equity policy of Fairfax County's Board of Supervisors and School Board. It commits the county and schools to intentionally consider equity when making policies or delivering programs and services. It's a declaration that all residents deserve an equitable opportunity to succeed. We will work in partnership with the Fairfax County government, local employers, nonprofits, and the philanthropic community to employ our proven approach to generate specific community-driven strategies informed by developing a comprehensive data analysis and landscaping process. Our partnership will include conducting an in-depth analysis of their programming that serves vulnerable children and families, identifying opportunities to scale impactful programs, identifying gaps and potential programs to fill them, and conducting a needs assessment and asset mapping of certain opportunity neighborhoods. We are adapting our existing model of deep engagement in nonprofits that serve vulnerable youth and families to the community itself. We have always invested in change. Now we are working with systems and governments to amplify that work. As we navigate constant changes resulting from the public health crisis, we know that the effects of our respective economies will be more significant for longer periods and will challenge our organizations and unfortunately negatively affect our constituents. That's why it is important to have a clear picture of the landscape and the challenges our communities face. Everyone has a role to play. Leverage networks and partnerships and connect with decision makers in all sectors of your community. These strategic collaborations will strengthen a sustainable community-wide systems change agenda. I applaud your hard work, dedication, and accomplishments as you continue moving forward, making a positive difference in helping individuals and families achieve economic self-sufficiency in your own communities. Take a moment to remember that we are all in this together. I've always said that we first build the army, then we link arms and move together to effect lasting systemic change. Remember, at the core, change is what each of our organizations is all about. We exist to create change in our communities, and that change has to start with every single one of us. We have the resources, we have the talent. Now let's continue to use our collective leadership to create new models for civic engagement, one that emphasizes a shared sense of responsibility for improving outcomes for our youth and families. Let's continue to demonstrate that through strategic collaboration, we can build a healthier country that gains strength from fully leveraging the efforts and skills of all of its citizens. It truly does take a village to create the change that we are seeking, and I am very proud to be part of this village, striving to make a difference in our communities. Continue to be strong to succeed in building and sustaining resilient communities. Thank you, and please enjoy your conference.